For decades, law and medicine courses here have been filled with JC graduates, but this is starting to change with more polytechnic graduates making a presence in these two fields of study. With us to discuss this today is education correspondent Amelia Teng. Hi Amelia. So let's get to numbers, because this is a lot of numbers are being thrown around this article. So what are the specific numbers here, and is it considered a significant increase?
So there are no huge leaps in terms of the proportions, but the increasing numbers of polytechnic graduates in these two top courses are they are significant enough to be noticed. So since 2016 for SMU Law, about 5 to 10 poly grads made it to SMU Law every year. This is up from about 1 in the years before that. And for NUS School of Medicine, they have now about 50 students across the 5 years of studies in medicine. This is compared to 22 in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah, so these numbers may not seem very big, but they are pretty significant because it's only in recent years where they just started to admit poly grads into these two courses. And if you look back, the first poly graduate that NUS Law took in was in 2005, and the first pair of poly grads who got into NUS Medicine was in 2007.
So quite recent actually.
Yeah.
So what is the impact of this? Positive, negative, whatever?
So I think there can only be positive impact from this recent trend. Some people may think that admitting more poly grads means there's a lowering of standards, but I think that's a misconception because the poly grads who enter these two courses are those that usually get like near perfect GPAs. They do very well in their studies. They just chose a more hands-on path, and more often than not, they already have some prior experience and knowledge of the biomedical sciences because they have gone on internships or attachments with some of the hospitals. I think also another positive outcome is the greater diversity in these two professions, because it's not just for the sake of numbers, but in time, hopefully, these people are going to graduate to become our doctors and lawyers, and we hope that they will have a diverse sense of opinions, experiences that they come with, compared to someone who has scored straight A's all their lives and maybe is from one of the top JCs.
Right, so like a smooth path, let's have someone different, for example. Yeah. So if you can provide a real life example, you actually wrote a story on a poly graduate called Darren Leong, who made it into Yonglin, sort of NUS's School of Medicine. What was it like talking to him? Okay,
so Darren, he's an example of a student who took maybe a longer time to figure out what he wanted, to find out what, how to do well in his studies, partly because of his family circumstances. And we often don't have control over what life chooses to hurl at us. And for him, he had to deal with his mom's death. And she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer when he was in primary 5, and a year later she passed on. And that was also the same year he took his PSLE, and he didn't do well in it. He barely made it to the normal academic stream with a score of 156. And but that was also the time when he chose to pull himself together to just prove to people that he could study, and he made it to poly, and then he went on to surprise himself that he got into NUS Medicine, and also he didn't dare to tell people about it because for fear that people would think that he could not make it. Also during the interview, I was struck by two things that he said, which was also in the story. He said that, to quote him, on the day of the interview for NUS Medicine, he was surrounded by many students from the top junior colleges, and when he said he was from polytechnic, he felt rather small. At the same time, he tried to put those fears aside and think of himself as an equal applicant. And another thing he said was that he hoped more poly students can enter NUS Medicine, as he felt they would be able to connect better with patients who didn't have that smooth pathway in life. And I think what he said was pretty true. Some of these poly graduates may not have had a good head start in their education. They didn't have a good start because of different reasons. Some financial, some they had faced hardships or met certain setbacks in life. Some just chose a different, more applied way of learning. And the hope is that these doctors, aspiring doctors, would continue to stay grounded because of what they have gone through, and perhaps be able to identify better with their patients in future.
I see. So this increase is good news, right? So moving forward, are we going to be expecting a more equal ratio of the two?
The short answer is no. I don't think there will be a 50-50 ratio even in the future, because the JC route is still primarily headed for university, and for these two courses especially, the bulk of the students are still going to be from the good JCs. But I think it's just encouraging that in recent years, these top courses have, which have been the stronghold of JC graduates from like the likes of Raffles and Hwa Chong, have actually opened their doors to polytechnic graduates who are just as good as their JC peers, who have the same aptitude and ability and can perform like as well as their JC peers.
I see. Well, hopefully we're going to get more aspiring doctors and lawyers from all different walks of life in the future. Thanks for sharing more with us, Amelia. So those were our top stories of the day. If you would like more news and videos, do head on to our website. That's www.straitstimes.com. Once again, I'm Kimberly Jiao. Thank you for watching The Big Story, and we'll see you tomorrow.